Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. Track 5, Raid, featuring MED. Is it MED or Med?
It's MED. Even though his actual rap name is Metaphor, he also goes by MED.
Okay, because he calls himself Med on here, so okay. Produced by Madvillain.
Because his rap name is technically Metaphor.
Got it. All right. Well, 7+.
Flat 8. Ding me, baby.
I respect it.
I got something.
Oh, so do I.
This is one of the only good remixes from Madvillainy 2. The Madvillain remix that Madlib put out on Stone's Throw.
I see.
This is Sermon, which is Madlib remixing Raid.
Got it. Okay. Sermon. Let's play a little of that. Here we go.
Hey! Gyro vibe! Say, are you paralyzed from the neck up? Want to get pissed off? Dial 711-9-099er! Epsilon we dial 4,000 million 6 trillion!
And to his business.
Remember, ladies, destroy the odor that proclaims your sex. Use Sweet Breeze.
When he gets between your knees, you sweet breeze.
Just mail 5 cents, just a nickel, along with 5 cents. Remember, send 5 cents in coin with either 5 cents, just a nickel. Now, full details of the offer later.
And if he speaks to you, you know what to do. Pretend to be scared and answer his questions.
I don't have to pretend. I'm scared, all right?
There's a first time for everything.
Sure will come. It's getting late.
He'll come all right. Doesn't matter how late it is. We'll be here waiting.
What's that?
Go ahead, peek between the curtains.
How doom hold heat and preach nonviolence. He about to start the speech. Come on, silence. On one starry night, I saw the light. Heard a voice that sounded like Barry White. Said, sure, you're right. Don't let me find out who tried to bite. They better off going to fly a kite in a firefight during tornado time with no coat, then I caught you. Wrote the book on rhymes, a note from the author.
I'm back here! I'm back here!
Got a breadwinner style to get an inner child to finna smile. And that's no exaggeration. The doctor told the patient it's all in your imagination, Negro. What do he know about the buttery flow? He need to cut the ego. Tripping. To date the metal fellow, been ripping flows since New York plates was ghetto yellow with broke blue writing. This is too exciting. Folks leave out the show
Feeling truly enlightened.
The villain, you know? The villain
From Boogie down to Brighton. All right, then.
Listen, that's a great transition. But before I forget, what did he know about the buttery flow? Is that what Moulz said to Mel about the buttery week?
Yeah.
That I don't approve of?
This is true.
Hey.
I gotta level with you about the buttery week this week.
Okay.
Or this year, most recently, that passed. It wasn't buttery enough for my liking.
Oh, man.
I think COVID kind of fucked up the buttery week. We kind of got to get back to quote-unquote normal again until the butteriness can truly, this was buttery, but this wasn't that clarified butter. I need that I want that.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not. It wasn't buttery enough. It was buttery, but just not quite buttery enough. And it might have just had to do with the fact that, I had a lot of shit to do. I couldn't just, kick back and rest on my laurels completely. But
yeah,
I don't know. It wasn't the best buttery week. I have to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat that this was the best buttery week yet, even with all the hype leading into it this year. I felt bad throughout the buttery week that I wasn't feeling buttery enough that I was going to let down the fans.
The butter gods. Hey, you got a new chance every year.
That's what you got.
Oh, new.
So what do you have, Mel? You got something you wanted to bring in?
I got a couple of things. So one, I'll just start off because when it faded out, I'll start there. So it's the villain been spilling enough lightning to rock shock the boogie down to Brighton. All right then. So that in 2014, there was a Milo song where he explicitly referenced this song, I believe. And at the time, I'd never heard this song, so I just took his word for it. Like, oh, I guess it happened at some point in time. But this was the line that he said. I brought it in. Here it is.
An infinite loop of MF Doom muttering, "Aight then."
That was it. That was all he said. He ended the verse like with that line. And then, so when I finally heard it, I'm like, oh, it's the titular "aight then." This is the "aight then" that he wants an infinite loop of for some reason, you know? So it's like, I love those moments. Like, I'm learning. You know, in 2014, I had no idea. And in 2016, I'm like, oh, I see. That's where we got this from. Now, my second learning moment is, so in 2015, I rapped on a flip of this beat and didn't know it because I had never heard this song before until 2016. So imagine me in 2016, eyes wide, like totally belonging on the Mel Ain't Rap account. Like, oh, I know this. I rapped on this. So I'm gonna you brought in EOD, which is a classic. I'm not saying this song's a classic, but I consider this to be one of my good records. If I recall correctly, you don't. But hey, so it satisfies playing the bad stuff.
I hope you don't play that line.
Which line?
The line that you just Doom on.
I didn't diss Doom. I didn't diss him. All I made was a simple look. If they want to seek that out, don't seek it out. But I didn't know it wasn't a diss, folks. It was like literally just a statement of fact. It was not a diss. And it was said to hopefully set myself apart from people who I knew were immensely influenced by him. I was just saying it to be like, look, I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm just doing my own thing. But yeah, I'll play the record. It was produced by H2. Shout out to him. And I knew it was MF Doom. I didn't know the song because at the end of the song, the beat that I rapped on, he just lets those opening lines play out. You know, how Doom hold heat and preach non. So I became very acquainted with like those opening bars, you know, through the beat that I rapped on. So here it is. I'm gonna play like the first 48 seconds before it gets like off the rails.
Disrespectful, to do.
It was never in the single artwork for the record. MF Doom is there. I'm like sitting in between MF Doom and Dwight Schrute. Okay, it was not a diss. It was never a diss. But here we go. This is the song, and you'll clearly hear that it samples Raid. Here you go. Because this life just in case you forgot, I'm a rapper. Vanguarded, God ran Dan Harmon through a rap filter and got me most anxious alive. I am top 3. Plug your controller in the slot B. You're a visitor. Your fetish is when they nigger her. We are not post-race with black.com. I bombed on the stage where they showcase trap and pop for hot moms. Heard I had a lane long ago. It got paved over. Blindness comparable to a layover. If I blew up, I couldn't be fixed with your makeover. I'm conspicuously pure like a water bottle spit like Triple H game over. Damage the quad core, too much porn, not poor, but money only buys happiness. I need salvation, pizza boy, but I won't eat it if Sal made it. I'd ignore the indicator that alerts you are now faded. I stopped lying to myself about moderation. That's all they get. That's all they need. But clearly, it samples Raid. So I didn't know I was eat it.
You did eat it if Sal made it, because Papa John turned out to be the real life Sal.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah. So the point, folks, is that MF Doom is massively influential. If you can't tell by now, but
even unbeknownst to you, because at the time, as you say on the song, I don't listen to MF Doom.
That is the line that I said. It's all I said. I don't listen to MF Doom. What I say? MF's died, get exhumed, to get compared. It's unfair. Would Tupac care if Young Thug wears a dress? Because don't nobody else care except you. Newsflash, that was 2 dads in the parent group. You mad? Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Anyway. So back to Raid. The actual
I think
Raid.
I was rapping about Christmas dick around that time.
You know Styles was referring to you as Christmas Dick Lyle. I like that song, though. That's a good song to me.
I've always loved Christmas as a holiday.
Anyway, look, the past of Moulz Mel was dark. We know this. Anyway, yeah, so Raid, when it comes on, I don't know if you feel the same way, But coming off like the shout out to, Big Hookie and Baba, it sounds like we in a laundromat. Because it's kind of like a rumbly noise when it comes on, I listen closely.
It sounds like a jazz club to me. Maybe it's just because of the rolling piano,
Well, the piano's one thing, but like the rustling noise is just the drums, like the drum brushes and cymbals or whatever. And it kind of resembles either being in a jazz club or a laundromat, or, them trains that be in them Ninth Wonder beats? Like the Beatles start and it'll be like a train.
They're not really in his beats. Those are
whoever added that.
Those are the J Arms drops of whoever bootlegged his beats, essentially. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of has that quality to it.
I think probably to this day, Ninth gets triggered by those. When he hears like trains roll by, he probably gets PTSD. He probably starts shaking.
Folks, this is the train noise. That's the train noise. But
I'm well acquainted with that freaking chain. Listen, don't get me started, okay?
All right. Shout out to trains. Il Mato had trains.
If you didn't rap over the Ninth Wonder bootleg train beats, you're a piece of shit. You ain't rap.
Talk to him.
You ain't rap.
Talk to
you
them.
ain't rap. You ain't been around long enough, I guess.
There's another Ninth Wonder bootleg train beat coming up. Which is where I got acquainted with the sample that happens later. But anyway, this comes on, and I'm thinking of the laundromat still because of Trap 4, and I'm like, he comes in rapping, and I'm like, I feel like I'm at a laundromat, and MF Doom is there, and he's just like rapping to keep the laundromat entertained, and I'm loving it. I'm grinning and nodding, and it's great, And with the beat itself, when it actually drops after the fake train, which is just the drum kit.
It's like some Price is Right type music.
Yeah. Big fan of this beat.
This is Moulz Mel. This is Moulz Mel in Las Vegas, getting ready to do the big Rab live game show.
Talk to him, And this is honestly the kind of beat I would have loved to make, but like I never gave myself the chance to like break the what's the word rigidity of like the FL Studio grid. I couldn't figure out to get that human feel because these drums are like chunky and stuttery, and it's like the beat's real rambunctious in a pleasurable way.
Yeah,
like
I started making beats in 2007. It took me until 2012 when I actually got drum pads, basically, where I was able to actually manipulate and control the timing of things.
Mm-hmm.
That really changed the game for me. So, like, to me, I have 3 eras of beats. I have 2007 until 2011, and I would say, or maybe 2010, 2011, that's the FL era.
Mm-hmm.
Then from like 2011 to 2012 was the Logic Studio era. Then I got on the MP wave. And
the MP wave.
Even when I was hooking up the pads, like mapping it to stuff on the computer, whether it's like Virtual DJ or in Logic, I completely changed my workflow and I lost that rigidity.
I envy you,
But at the same time, I stopped making slappers and bangers.
Right.
So it's a trade-off. You somewhat need the rigidity if you want to make big sounding records.
Mainstream, big.
Yes. But if you want to make stuff like Bad Sunday, which was, from a production and arrangement standpoint, most highly influenced by this album and Reloaded, you have to lose the rigidity.
Yeah. And the closest I got to that, and to be clear, I got my dad, shout out to him, he bought me you remember like it was a MPD, they called it. It wasn't an MPC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the D stood.
I didn't have an MPC. I had an MPK, I believe.
Ah, right. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. It was the MPD. It was a
I know what
USB,
you're talking about.
Like,
it's just the pads, right?
Well, it has pads and like faders.
Yes. The MPK was basically that with a keyboard attached to it, but not a full keyboard.
Nice.
You have to move.
I think Songa had an MPK. Yeah, and
H2 had an MPK.
It was
That's what he made the Raid flip on.
Oh, nice. Okay. Shout out to the MPK. Honestly, shout out to the MPD. I feel bad because my dad bought it and I was very excited because I'm like, oh, now I can do chops the way like I really want to do chops.
See,
like,
that's it. That's why I even did that, because I'm like, I'm not getting the quick fire, almost sloppy, drunken chops that I want.
Right. That's what I wanted to emulate. It was like the closest. Well, the reason I never actually got to do it is because I couldn't figure out how to sync the MPD to FL Studio properly. And to my own, it was my fault. I could have figured it out and kept tinkering with it, but I just gave up. I guess. I had a perfectly working piece of equipment that I just never learned to program correctly.
Do you still have it?
I believe so. I think it's at my dad's house.
You could map the pads to Virtual DJ, make drum patterns in FL, export them, run them on one track on Virtual DJ on a 16-bar loop, and then do your sample triggering on the other deck.
I ain't making beats no more. Honestly, I'm just thinking about how I could map this to the soundboard for Rad.
Oh, okay. So kind of almost make it like one of them Roadcaster gimmicks, basically.
I don't know if it's possible, but yeah.
Anywho.
But anyway, the closest I got to actually making those kinds of beats is I actually made it like a couple of years ago, just because I don't make beats. I was messing around, and what I did is I just used my literal laptop keyboard to do the drums, and I just didn't quantize them. And what I got was this. So I'm gonna play, but like that was like the closest
I feel like you write
I got
a song
to breaking
about
that.
Like teenage suicide over that beat, but like it sounds pretty good.
Me?
No, I feel like,
I like
in
it.
general, when you get a beat like that, you got to write about some like emo teenager type shit,
Oh man, it's a Pizza Boy classic. I would have said something on that, but this ain't about me. It's about Madlib making a great loose, unrigid beat, and MF Doom saying some iconic bars. I'm a big fan of how Doom hold heat and preach nonviolence. Shh, he about to start the speech. Come on, silence. That is great. That's great. It's great. It's great. Okay. And as we heard in the Madvillainy 2 remix, the sequence from, got a breadwinner style to get an inner child, a thinner smile. The band website says thinner smile. I hear it as to get an inner child to thin a smile. I don't know. But that's no exaggeration. The doctor told the patient, it's all in your imagination, Negro. What do he know about the buttery flow? He needs to cut the ego. Like, I'm a big fan of that. Like this, like he's just like in the middle of the song, he's having a conversation with this doctor, and it's just.
By the way, I love that line right afterwards. Trippin'. To date, the meadow fellow been ripping flows since New York plates was ghetto yellow. Broke blue writing. This is too exciting. Folks leave out the show feeling truly enlightened. They say the villain's been spitting enough lightning to rock shock the boogie down to Brighton. All right, then.
It's the they say. I just like, come on.
And then how he changes his tone to shift into the dialogue of they.
Yes.
Yes. And then comes right back. But the thing about that line was, when I heard it, those plates were phased out in 86.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 87. So my whole life in New York, the plates were red, white, and blue, basically.
Right.
They were white plates with like red and blue lettering on them. And there was the Statue of Liberty. In 2010, New York got rid of those license plates and brought the yellow and blue back. How it used to be. So now they're yellow and blue again.
Nice.
There are no more white red and blue New York license plates. So those are like the throwbacks now, interestingly enough.
Wow. I mean, I'm a big fan of when they revert back
to the classic,
you know, a vintage style.
Yeah.
You know, for the like, I mean, I like it not for a nostalgia bait, but because I think it was a unique design. It's cool. They never should have changed it.
Yeah,
you know,
I think I prefer it as well.
You know, it's like you gotta set yourself apart from these other cities.
But yeah, great verse by MF Doom, and I think a good verse from MED.
What? Okay, on that. MED. Actually, before I go on,
you know what? I'm about to say it.
Perfect verse alert for MF Doom. Okay,
yes.
that verse, perfect verse alert. But MED, okay, get him out of here. Okay, look, let me be fair. Okay, he wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
No, he's not whack. I mean, but
this is whack.
This is my opinion about MED in general. He's benefited from having access to very good production. He has worked with Just Blaze, J Dilla, Oh No, Madlib extensively.
Word. So,
especially Madlib. So he's gotten, and to be quite honest with you, he's gotten some of, remember that, boy, how many times have I told you, you can't hang on to the past.
That Bobby Caldwell?
Yep, that Clad, man.
Clad, bro. Clad. Y'all ain't ready for Clad rankings. Clad is a GOAT. All right, that's all I gotta say.
That Can't Hold On by MED. I think Madlib produced it. That shit is so classic.
Carry on.
Listen, the MED interlude on the Quasimodo album was good. You know, that One Love, doom, One Love, MED has been the recipient of very many a good beat. And I think, to be frank, he's been carried by these beats. But I've never been annoyed by him as a rapper. I've never been like, he sounds whack.
Wrong with him.
He's meat and potatoes, but in a completely serviceable way.
Well,
I like how he at least opens his verse. Like, this is a song, right? So, like, he's taking cues from Doom's first verse. How med hold heat like Clint Eastwood is reborn.
Leave you with more holes in the dartboard. It's like, okay, look, that's it's just he suffers in being in proximity to Doom. You know, that happens. It's like, you know what? And I got this drop in the off season. I guess I get to use it. Okay, not to bring this guy back up so soon, but it's just like my boy Donald Glover, Small Phoenix rap legend, said in his stand-up. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he was like, Kicks is the hand job of cereal. You know, so like this MED verse, this is how I feel.
This is pretty good, but you know what I really want.
I want MF Doom. Okay? I came for MF Doom and Madvillainy, and you know, it's just this is okay. This is meat and potatoes. But I just heard a perfect verse alert, you know? So that's what happens. Honestly, and that's probably what keeps it at a 7+ for me. Mm-hmm. You take MED off.
That's what keeps it at a flat. That's what keeps it at a flat 8 for me. Because if we got an extra Doom verse on here, maybe 8+, maybe 9-.
You know what I'm saying? MED don't feel bad. You don't suck. It's just Doom is doing Doom things.
Dude, I'm a fan of his music. I've purchased like a few of his albums before. So
there you go. We put money in your pocket. Metaphor. Okay, it's all good. You a friend here. You know? And listen, I like your line, thanks to rap, I ain't got a dime. I know all about that. Rap left me broke. Y'all heard what I was rapping about earlier? Sal's Pizza and everything. I ain't make no money. But you know what? Rap ain't left me broke, though. Okay? Thanks to Rap, I got a dime.
MED is the unfortunate victim of a guy who you could have very well made the case was having the best year ever in an amazingly prolific and inspirational career. And he was on fire in rare form, this generational talent. And, you know, like, it's going to be hard to stack up.
It's hard to do. All right. That's all. So Grade, it's good. 7+. It's almost great. It is great until MVD shows up. Not because he's bad, but because he's not great. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's the equation. Great plus good gets you really good, but not great. So yeah. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, I guess we can move it along. I might have to sit this one out. You know about me. Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.